Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Muhammad, and today we are talking about the wood ant, or Formica rufa, or redwood ant, or horse ant. These ants, you know, they you see usually they're brown and black in color, like this one or this one, and sometimes they would only have one queen, but other times they would also have more than one queen than one of these special ants. Uh, their nuptial flights are usually around springtime, and they have been known to be mostly found around the Eurasian continent, though there have been unconfirmed reports in like North America. But again, it's unconfirmed. Now, Formica rufa, or the wood ants, have been known to make nests with as like large mounds with these domes, usually made in like forest clearings where the sun can reach them, and they would make them out of like grass or twigs or something called conifer needles, like this or like this. The As I said before, the Formica rufa, or redwood ants, often tend to re- readopt post-nuptial queens, usually from its own mother colony. Well, uh, from its own mother colony, which leads over to you know, them having like over 100 like reproducing ants. New, typically they're new, typically new nests when their nuptial flight is complete. New nests are usually made from budding from an existing nest. I don't know, understand what that means. Or temporary parasitism, which means you know which means that the queen ant goes into the nest of another ant colony, of an ant colony of usually like a different species, like Formica fusca, and kills and goes in there to kill the queen, taking her scent and having her workers serve her serve their serve their new queen, and until she and this happens until she replaces the old workers with her own, and yeah, the colony starts that way. Now, the primary diet of these wood ants are the honeydew from aphids and like invertebrates. These wood ants are also heavily aggressive, taking out any sort of competition within where they settle and targeting the predators that are more numerous. Their foraging trails would tend to extend from like to like 100 meters. Though they usually like hunt around, their nest and stuff. But like if there's not a lot of food around their nest, they would extend that reach further away. As you know from ants, they don't tend to get along very well with each other. Even if it's their own kind, mostly because of chemical signals. During spring, their nuptial flight season, they would, if there were like nearby rival wood ant colonies, they would these wood ant colonies would usually do battle with each other as you know these wood ants establish territories and force and foraging trails that usually changes throughout seasons. And if the if a wood ant colony trespasses on the colony it doesn't recognize on a colony that it don't recognize, and the ants don't recognize each other, they'd start fighting. They'd run back to their colony, bring reinforcements, and begin fighting each other to claim dominance over their territory before their nuptial fight happens. Ah. Now, usually, now these the wood ants are tend to be polygynous, but sometimes they are monogynous, which means they have like, which usually just means they have one queen. Though sometimes these one queen nests, these monogynous nests, um, would adopt would recruit postnuptial flight queens, and add them as more reproductive, more egg laying queens to help with growing the colony. So yeah, a monogynous nest turns into a polygynous one. Last interesting fact is that typically wood ants would also have multiple extra nests. You know, they have like large networks of other. Oh yeah, I should also mention that these ants are also capable of like forming super colonies with despite the fact that they do fight each other, they are somewhat capable of forming a super colony. But like that's the same for fire ants too, however. And anyways, wood ants would have a separate nests, you know, nests that are not the main nest. These backup nests or daughter nests would usually would be there would be for the ants to move to in case the in case if anything happens to the main nest. It's called nest splitting, I think, which takes over from like a week to over a month. Uh, the reason these ants would move from their old nest to their new nest is like the change in their in availability and like food resources, or an attack by another colony, or just the state of the nest itself. And apparently, in 2008, the chronic bee paralysis virus was reported in this species of ants, in the wood ants. Apparently, I don't know. The Yeah, 12 minutes. I think the I think that's going to be all for this video. The Thank you for if you stayed to the end of it, and goodbye.